Why not?
Welcome to Season 2 of Red Sox Digest, the only show where pain, sarcasm, and false hope collide nightly, like a Masataka Yoshida ground out to second. We break down every loss, every meltdown, and the occasional win, with sarcasm, facts, and no front office spin. Subscribe today at RedSoxDigest.com, or keep wondering how a wildcard team spent an entire offseason avoiding power hitters. And now, here's the crew at Red Sox Digest.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I am your host tonight, Jim Delfino. And yes, I'm here, somehow, still alive, and still doing this podcast. Because apparently watching the Red Sox get swept at home by the Minnesota Twins wasn't enough punishment. No, I had to hit go live tonight like a man willingly walking back into a burning building because he forgot his phone charger. At this point, doing Red Sox Digest after games like this should come with a helmet, a therapist, and one of those emotional support dogs. Not the cute one either. I need a battle-tested German shepherd named Butch who's seen some things. So I'm emotionally damaged by this team that when the Red Sox lose to the Twins, I don't even get mad anymore. I just sit there in silence like a father watching his kid play clarinet at a school concert, knowing damn well he never even practices. My wife sees me staring at the TV and says, "Are you okay?" "No, sweetheart. I just watched the Red Sox blow another game at Fenway like they were trying to return it without a receipt. This team doesn't lose normally. They don't just get beat. They invite you in, give you hope, hand you a cold drink, and tell you everything's going to be fine, and then set the couch on fire while the bullpen comes jogging in with gasoline and a leaf blower. That's not baseball trauma. That's emotional vandalism in cleats." Joining me tonight is Nick Face. Nick is here, which is good because after this sweep, we need someone with an emotional stability of a raccoon trapped inside a Dunkin' Donuts dumpster. Nick hates losing so much that if the Red Sox gave up a leadoff walk in a spring training B game, he'd start arguing with a 14-year-old named Breslow Truthbomb69 on Twitter. Tonight, Nick's watching this team get swept at home by Minnesota and immediately started refreshing the standings like a man checking to see if his house was still on fire. Also joining me tonight is John Martinello. John is here too, our resident analytics guy, which is perfect because only John can look at this flaming pile of baseball sludge and say, well, actually, if you isolate the expected emotional damage per inning, there are signs of regression. John started the Red Sox, blow leads, strand runners, kick the ball around, and still probably has a spreadsheet titled, "While This Isn't Technically Rock Bottom." John, hate to tell you, but rock bottom called, and it said, "Stop digging, you lunatic." Let's get into it. Your Boston Red Sox are now 22-30 and are 13 games behind the first-place Tampa Bay Rays in the AL East. They are in last place, riding a 3-game losing streak, and MLB standings have them at 22-30, 13 games back with a minus 16 run differential. And how did we get here? Oh, only by getting swept at home by the Minnesota Twins, because apparently Fenway Park is now a timeshare for visiting teams to come in, relax, and heal emotionally. Friday night, the Red Sox lose 8-6 after being up 6-3. That's not a loss. That's a hostage negotiation gone wrong. They score 4 in the first, added 2 more, and then the bullpen came in like it was a guy trying to put out a grease fire with a hairdryer. Justin Slayton gave up 4 earned runs in 2/3 of an inning, including a Byron Buxton homer and an Austin Martin homer in the 7th. Beautiful and just gorgeous. Fenway Park turned into a Red Sox-themed escape room where the only clue was don't throw meatballs. Saturday, well, they lose 4-2. The offense had 5 hits. I count them, 5. That's not a lineup. That's a CVS receipt with cleats. The Twins had 12 hits. Trevor Larnach went 4 for 5, and the Red Sox waited until the 9th to pretend they remembered baseball games have consequences. Reuters also had the Twins' 12-hit attack and Taj Bailey's return as the story, because apparently Minnesota came to Fenway for batting practice and Boston came for jury duty. And then today, Sunday, the grand finale, Twins 6, Red Sox 5. The Red Sox had 11 hits, 2 homers, and still lost because this team can turn opportunity into disappointment faster than Ticketmaster can add a service fee. Yoshida homered. Contreras homered. Sogard tripled. Kiner-Falefa doubled in the ninth. And what happens? Connor Wong gets thrown out at home. Then Rafaela flies out to end it. That's not a rally. That's baseball blue balls. And let's not forget Friday's buffet of embarrassment. They blow a 6-3 lead, give up 4 in the 7th, and add another run in the 9th on an error, hit batter, and a bases-loaded walk situation. That inning looked more like the bullpen was operated by a substitute gym teacher. And let me say this to the fans, because if you're still watching this team every night, and I am, so I'm not judging, I'm standing right next to you in the clown car, wearing the big shoes, honking the little horn, wondering why the engine's on fire. We are not loyal anymore. We are clueless. We're sitting there in the 7th inning like, okay, maybe they'll hold this lead. Hold the lead? These guys couldn't hold a sandwich. This bullpen gets handed a 3-run lead and treats it like a raccoon holding a Fabergé egg on a trampoline. The manager walks out to the mound, takes the ball, and here comes another reliever jogging in from the bullpen like a substitute teacher who just lost the dodgeballs, forgot the whistle, and smells faintly like cafeteria pizza. We're still watching. Why? Based on what? Hope? Vibes? A scratch ticket? Did someone find a 2004 DVD under the couch, and now we think David Ortiz is coming through the bullpen door wearing cargo shorts and carrying a folding chair? This team has shown us that they have every single night, and we keep coming back like a golden retriever running into a sliding glass door. Bang. Still happy. Bang. Still wagging. Bang. Maybe tonight they'll play clean baseball. No, they won't, you beautiful idiot. They're going to boot a grounder, walk the 9-hitter, throw a cutter into the Mass Pike, and then stare into space like the scoreboard personally betrayed them. The Red Sox blow a 3-run lead at home, and we're still sitting there in the 9th inning like, well, if Duran gets on, we need to stop it. We need to seek help. Maybe hydrate. Call a relative. Go outside and touch grass before Ceddanne Rafaela swings at a pitch that lands in a canoe. That's not fandom anymore. That's Stockholm Syndrome with a Nesson login and a half-eaten bag of Cape Cod chips. We're not watching baseball. We're watching a man slip on a banana peel, get up, step on a rake, fall into the kiddie pool, get electrocuted by the scoreboard, and then have Craig Breslow come out with a clipboard and say, actually, the process was encouraging. At some point, we just got to admit it. Watching this team right now is like touching the stove every night and acting shocked when your hand smells like Fenway Franks and emotional bankruptcy. This isn't baseball anymore. This is a wellness check with box scores. And every night we answer the door like, no, officer, everything's fine. The bullpen just coughed up 4 runs again, and we're building something here. That's it. I've said enough. It's time for us to face the facts.
It's time for Face the Facts, where excuses get laughed out of the room, your feelings are irrelevant, and your opinion probably doesn't matter. No spin, no cope, just the facts. And now, your esteemed host, Nick Face.
I actually don't have a word of the day today because this team doesn't deserve a word of the day anymore. Zing was my gong and all that. I want so desperately to be able to come home from a day of work, watch and put the TV on, watch the game, enjoy it, but I can't. So what I'm basically saying is, yeah, I don't even want to watch this team anymore. There's nothing to watch, guys. There's no player that I'm excited to root for. There's nothing of a product that's there for me to enjoy. So then you ask yourself, am I a Red Sox fan? I would say right now, no, I'm not. Not of this organization, not of this team. There's no fun to it. I'd rather watch for the probably 200th time on my television screen one of the great 90s shows from back in the day, whether it's a Full House or a Home Improvement or a Saved by. I'd rather watch that as my background TV screen than even give Nesson my money or even put that on my TV screen to watch. It's that bad. My lifetime, this is the worst team I have ever seen put together top to bottom. Top to bottom. I am not going to put my television screen on to watch Isaiah Connor-Falefa, Caleb Durbin, Jaron Duran, Cedane Rafaela, and Connor Wong getting thrown out at home plate to end a game on my TV screen. I've been frustrated enough with it, and I'm trying to keep the peace. I'm trying not to get my blood pressure boiled. I'm trying not to get all upset about an organization that doesn't care. They don't. So I'm going to enjoy life. I'm going to enjoy peace, sanity, and if I have to see the box score and see what's going on to continue to do our pod, I'll do that. But until you give me something to watch and enjoy, I'm not going to do it. I'm done. Like, this is the product you want. I'm not going to invest my time. Time is such a valuable thing in this life. Why am I going to waste my time watching a bunch of crap? It's just, it's disgusting. You got swept by the Minnesota Twins at Fenway Park. I mean, here's a team that at the trade deadline from 2025 basically said, we're done. We're giving up. Give us whatever you want. And Breslow couldn't even get Joe Ryan because the Minnesota Twins laughed at him because he was unprepared and had no idea what was going on. Yet, here they are, the Minnesota Twins. They're getting the last laugh now because they're a better team than the Boston Red Sox. And the Minnesota Twins waved the flag at the deadline last year. Take what you want. Here you go. Take it. It's yours. And the Red Sox couldn't even get anything for it. It's disgusting. I do have a question, though, for you guys, because I was listening to a little bit, I would say, on the radio, traveling from here, there, and everywhere. And I've really come to the terms of despising Will Fleming on the radio a lot. I just can't stand it. I love Joe Castiglione, and it was wonderful to listen to him. I don't mind Middlebrooks, I guess, but Will Fleming, out of his mouth, said, we're watching and witnessing the next Hall of Famer being Byron Buxton on the Twins. And I nearly got in an accident when he said this on, I think it was Saturday afternoon. And I'm on my way home, and I nearly got in an accident because it really enraged me. Byron Buxton is not a Hall of Famer on even his best day. What is he smoking, Will Fleming? I really want to know. It is laughable how unprofessional the radio broadcast has gotten. We can go on to the TV side of things all day. I despise Dave O'Brien. It's bedtime Dave 24/7 since 2016. But Will Fleming, that's your guy who's replacing a national legend in Joe Castiglione. That's the best we've got here in Boston. Will Fleming. Grow up. This whole friggin' city. It is so embarrassing. Byron Buxton is a Hall of Famer. My ass. It's just so ridiculous. That's what got me infuriated mostly this weekend, was having to listen to that. It was so bad yesterday, I just turned it off. I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt. I really did. And just listen. And I couldn't even listen. It was a clown show, just like Sam Kennedy and crew. Clown Show USA. They should just put the big top up and bring the elephants and animals in, because they have a better chance at succeeding with that than this current organization running well. That's my advice. Take it for what you want.
Yeah, I got you on that one. So, Face the Facts is brought to you by RageAway Industrial Strength Fan Sedatives. Are you a Red Sox fan who can't make it through the seventh inning without threatening to fight a stranger on X named Fenway Logic 617? Do you find yourself screaming, "What are we doing?" at the television that legally cannot respond? Then try RageAway, the first over-the-counter chewable tablet designed specifically for fans who still bullpen might hold the lead. Just take 2 before first pitch and 1 more every time the Red Sox commit an error that looks like it was choreographed by a drunk circus seal. Side effects may include clenched fists, loud sighing, refreshing the standings at 1:17 a.m., and texting, "I'm done with this team," before watching again tomorrow. RageAway, because Sox fans can't expect to raw dog this roster sober. And now it's time for the Martinello Minute.
And now the part they don't want said out loud. No spreadsheets or corporate spin, just the truth, raw and impatient. This is the Martinello Minute.
Before you go, John, hold on. This is my spray. I do have RageAway. There it is. Rage. There it is.
I feel better already.
There you go. Brings calmness now. Carry on.
I'm all good now. Yeah, I mean, that series just sucked flat out. Come off a 3-game sweep on the road, you get a day off. You think that the Red Sox are going to play with some confidence, some urgency to, because we all knew that they haven't played very well at home this year. So, you think with the day off, coming off a 3-game win on the road, they're going to come into Fenway Park feeling good about themselves and whatnot. Obviously that just isn't the case whatsoever. Nick, you say it all the time, just about that at this point, this team just needs to lose because that's the only way that we're going to get, to see at least some urgency and changes made, whether it's the roster, the front office, and beyond. You're not wrong. But during games, for me, it's just impossible to think in that way. But after the fact, it's getting a lot easier for me now to be like, you know what, like there is light at the end of the tunnel. I could see, I'm not gonna, worry too much about it. And as you said, I'll go enjoy my Sunday, and I did that today. But
good. I'm glad. I'm happy for you.
Yeah. This series, the offense, while it wasn't necessarily the reason that you got swept, they're still struggling night in and night out with runners on base. They stranded 16 in the series. 12 of those were in the 7th and 9th innings. So as we saw, all 3 games, they had all these, runners on first and second, no outs, runners on first and third, no outs, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, nobody scored. So, the problems that we've been talking about all year, it's still the same stuff. And, thank God that you pitched as well as they did in Kansas City, or else that series could have been a sweep the opposite way, just as easy as it was a sweep for us. Jim said, as I said 2 seconds ago, Jim said it in his opening monologue that he's just not even angry anymore. I'm on the same page as that at this point.
Me too.
It stinks though. Like, it still stings. I'm sticking my stomach as soon as each game ends, especially these 3. But I can't expect anything else out of this ball club. Every game of the series, they lost the games the same way. The starters were okay. A trusted bullpen arm absolutely imploded, and then fake comebacks in the last couple innings of the game. And, we just feel like, as I tweeted out earlier, it just feels like you got kicked in the dick over and over and over again. So the Sox now lie 8 games under 500. And 7 of the next 8 teams they play have pitching staffs that are in the top 10 in baseball. So nothing's going to come easy. And I honestly think that things are just going to get incredibly harder for this offense. Day off tomorrow. Braves come into town on Tuesday, and they have we'll get to it later, but they have a gauntlet of starting pitchers lined up to embarrass this offense yet again.
Yeah, it's so funny too, because you spend just 2 minutes on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and you get people that saying, "You guys are so negative. Why are you so negative?" And I always say, we don't want to be negative. We don't want to shit on the team. But when you provide a product that plays like this, there's not much else to talk about. It's the same old nonsense every night. We would much rather talk about individual plays, or, this one should have tagged up, or this sacrifice worked, or, this and that about the pitching staff, or how about Contreras hitting 3-run home runs tonight, anything. But it's the same thing. There's nothing positive comes out of any of these games. So please, all you folks that out there that think we're just negative and that our lives are all negative because we write about the Red Sox being bad. It has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with our personal lives at all. Zero.
Far from it.
You guys are just either trolls or just don't understand the game. I don't know what it is. The Martinello Minute is brought to you by Spreadsheet Tears, the official data tracking software for Red Sox fans who want to prove scientifically that they're miserable. With Spreadsheet Tears, fans can log every blown lead, every stranded runner, every defensive meltdown, and the underlying numbers aren't that bad. Thought that before reality slaps them in the face with a wet Fenway program. Features on this include expected disappointment plus, bullpen collapse probability, win probability before the reliever starts stretching, and our new metric, XWHY, which measures why the hell we're still watching this. Perfect for analytic guys who stare at a 6-3 lead disappearing and say, well, there's still a positive process indicator here, while everyone else is trying to crawl into a refrigerator. Spreadsheet Tears, because sometimes the numbers don't lie, they just laugh at you like rows and columns. Going to move right along to some talking points. So let's start off with jackass number 1, Trevor Story. Trevor Story finally gets surgery after collecting second opinions like Pokemon cards. He has a sports hernia after reportedly getting 5 second opinions, which is pretty incredible because most people get 1 second opinion. Trevor got 5. At that point, it's not a medical process anymore. It's a Yelp review tour with anesthesia at the end. The guy was apparently walking around from doctor to doctor like he was on the House Hunters groin edition. Doctor number 1 says sports hernia. Doctor number 2 says groin. Doctor number 3 says just rest. Doctor number 4 says surgery. And doctor number 5 says, sir, why are you still playing shortstop? And look, I get it. Surgery is serious. Nobody wants to go under the knife. But this team let him keep playing while he was hitting like a Roomba trapped under a couch. Story was out there trying to hit major league pitching while the lower half was a haunted scarecrow. My question to you, John, I'll start with you. Are we going to see Trevor Story back on the major league roster in 2026, or is he done for the season?
It's a good question because, one half of me wants to say, just out of spite, just no, he's not going to. But all the reports say that it's going to be a 6 to 10 week recovery, and then from there, say it's 8 weeks, so 2 months, probably another week plus in rehabbing. So if everything goes perfectly, he'll probably be back this year. But I can't imagine. I don't want to wish more injury upon the guy, but I think that it's going to be a little bit longer at least. And listen, like if he is at the point, say in mid-August, that he is healthy enough to come back and this team's 10, 15 games below 500, like what's the point of even bringing him back into this lineup? So, I could care less if he comes back or not. And that's kind of just how I see it. The one thing that I am excited about for the time being, though, the guy Thomas TJ Stats on X or Twitter, he posts all the best OPS, all the stats every single day. I'm not going to have to see Trevor Story and Caleb Durbin and Jarren Duran on top of the worst OPSs in baseball anymore. So that I'm happy about.
Nick, are we going to see Trevor Story in a Red Sox uniform on the Major League roster again in 2026?
God, I hope not. I hate the guy. I'm sorry. I've said it so many times. I don't want him here. I don't want him on this team. Goodbye. Good riddance. Release him. Be done with it. Every time I look at Trevor Story, I get mad. Do you guys know why I get mad? John, do you know why I get mad? Why do I get mad when I look at Trevor Story and want to go like this and throw darts
stole your
at
lunch?
him? Besides that.
Is it because of the 547 OPS?
No! Because that should be Xander Bogaerts. That's why. Every time I look at him, I shake my head in disgrace because the organization effed up like they always do. Trevor Story should not be a Red Sox. Period. End of discussion. And now we suffer through it. Well, you know what? I don't want to suffer through it anymore. So good effing riddance. Bye-bye. Sayonara. See you later. Hope it's career ending. Goodbye. Goodbye. Don't want you. See you later.
So I'm going to go a little bit different on this just because I'm cynical. I actually hope the guy comes back because this team is actually going to be out of it anyway. I want him to come back and show that he can still play because maybe there's a slight glimmer of hope that they can trade him in the offseason. Eat the money. I don't care. But at least if they can show he's healthy, maybe there's a team out there that will take his sorry ass. That's the only reason why I want him. That's it.
Jim, you have a better chance of going down to your local convenience store, grabbing a scratchy, and getting $1 million.
I've done that twice.
Go down and do. Oh, thanks. Why don't you share it with the rest of us?
Moving right along to our next talking point.
There's Jim right there.
Yeah, here we go. So it's rumored now that the Boston Red Sox are aggressively looking for offense, which means someone finally looked at the lineup without sunglasses. Your Boston Red Sox are now reportedly aggressively looking for offense, specifically a right-handed bat with no particular position attached. MLB rumors said trade rumors reported they already are scouring the trade market for a bat because the lineup is struggling, which is front office language for dear God, someone please hit a ball that doesn't immediately become a weak grounder to second. No particular position is also noted. That's perfect. So they're not shopping by need. They're shopping like a guy wandering through Costco. We need a third baseman, outfielder, first baseman, designated hitter. Doesn't matter. Is he right-handed? Can he fog a mirror? Can he hit a ball farther than the pitcher's mound? Put him in the cart. This is where we are now. The Red Sox aren't looking for the missing piece. They're looking for any piece that doesn't immediately burst into flames. My question to you guys, and Nick, I'll start with you. Do you honestly believe that this team is actually looking for a right-handed impact power bat? And the second part of my question, because I spent about a half hour going over this with our friend Charlie a couple days ago, who would be available considering the fact that with this extra wild card, there's so many teams that are in, the contention for a playoff spot. And thirdly, the teams I saw, their guys were left-handed. Your thoughts?
No, they're not aggressively looking at anything. They can say they are. Just like they said, oh, we're going to go full throttle. Watch out. Watch out for this team. We're going to make it so great. The report of the whole Mike Trout thing, too, coming from Mike Felger, I found that laughable as well, too. Because
Artie Moreno he's not going to trade Mike Trout.
He's not going to do that. And Mike Trout's not going to come to Boston. He's not going to waive his no trade clause to come to this cesspool here at Fenway Park. Forget that. If Mike Trout was going to go somewhere, he'd go to a winner. This isn't a winner. This is a joke. So looking for offense. I don't know what they're looking for because, number one, it's too early. You have too many teams that are going to say, oh, we're still in it, just like the Red Sox will do right now. No one's going to make a move right now. It was shocking even to see the managers turn over and fired and everything early with Cora. And then with the Phillies, with making Don Mattingly their manager and everything too. But I think it's still too early to start looking and taking any of this seriously right here with anything. So they can look. But the other thing here, guys, what baseball organization besides the Cardinals and anybody else associated at some point in the friend zone with Craig Breslow wants to make a move? With Craig Breslow. Craig Breslow has a horrible reputation around Major League Baseball as a general manager who's clueless, who doesn't know what he's doing. So why would any GM want to deal with him? See, that's one of the bigger problems I think we don't talk about enough. The rest of the league laughs at the Red Sox face because they have a guy who should not be in the position that he is. He was 16th, 17th, 18th, whatever choice to be the GM. And he doesn't have the people skills to make moves happen or the smarts to make it happen, even though he's from Yale grad. That's a major problem that's here. So if you're going to make a deal, that's why we've seen so many of these deals related to like the Ben Sherringtons or Heim Blooms or other organizations that have a tie to the Red Sox, because Breslow, he picks up the phone and wants to call Dave Dombrowski. Dombrowski's going to slam the phone right down his face. It's just what's going to happen. If he calls up the Braves, Alex Anthopoulos that's over there, you think he's going to exchange anything or laugh in his face? He'd probably laugh in his face. Oh, I need a move. What's Austin Riley up to? Bye. That's a huge problem.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line here is the Red Sox are one of 7 teams in the bottom in terms of winning percentage. It's not a team that should be going out there saying we want to go ahead and find an impact right-handed bat. And after I asked John his thoughts, I want to go over team by team real quickly to just kind of get your opinions on this, and we'll go from there. But John, go ahead and give me your thoughts on, will the Red Sox and Breslow actually go after a right-handed impact bat in 2026?
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna go after a bat. Craig Breslow, he's on the hot seat. He needs to go out and acquire something before we're even close to the trade deadline. The question is, at that point, is, who is he going to call? Who's going to answer the call? Who's going to engage in an actual conversation with him? And what's Craig going to give up? Duran, despite how bad Duran has been, he still has some value. Every team will listen, on him. AJ Preller evidently is on both of his knees right now, begging the Craig Breslow for a role as Chapman.
Why? They have the best bullpen in baseball.
They have the best bullpen in the league. And then they're trotting out Lucas Giolito, which I like him, but Walker Buehler's still there. Like, the guys, they have guys, they don't have a good rotation, and they're interested in Chapman for whatever reason. But you could go ahead and call Taboni out in Washington. You could ask on CJ Abrams, but if your team identity is pitching, that's one thing. He's left-handed, and then if we're so caught up on pitching and defense, guy's in the first percentile in outs above average this year. He's the worst infielder in baseball. So,
I think it's though.
Where are they going to go? I have no idea, but I can't imagine we get to the end of June and something hasn't been anything of significance hasn't been done yet. But again, like is Craig Breslow capable of he doesn't have to win a trade, but can he go out and get an impact player? Which I don't think the answer is yes to that.
Well, I mean, look, I want to go over this division by division just really, really briefly, because I kind of went over this with a couple other people. Start with the National League West. You've got the Dodgers and the Padres that are neck and neck for the division. The Arizona Diamondbacks, who you wanted Marte from, they're only 4.5 out, and they've got a winning record. They're 4 over 500. So the only 2 teams that you could conceivably see any talk with would be the Giants and the Rockies. Now move over to the Central. The Pittsburgh Pirates are in last place, a game over 500 at 4.5 out. I don't necessarily see the Pirates or the Reds, who were in the bottom of that division, going ahead and, being sellers. And, the only guy I'd want from the Reds would be De La Cruz, and they're not moving him. He's their franchise player. So now you move over to the National League East. The Braves are obviously in it. They've got such a commanding lead, but the Nationals are a 500 team in second place. And I don't see them getting anything from the Marlins or the Mets. I don't know. And then, of course, we go back to the American League. You got the Astros and the Angels in the cellar. The Tigers are probably going to sell because they're going to probably try to move Skubal and try to get something for him because he's going to be a free agent. And then, of course, you've got the Orioles and the Red Sox in the East. So, I mean, I just don't even see where they're going to find a match for somebody that not only is able to trade with them, wants to trade, and has a piece you really want. Some of these guys, we just talked about the Nationals, Abrams is left-handed. So I just don't see it. I don't know.
The answer for me, at least, it's all in the AL West. Can you, like, if it's the fun answer, it's the easy answer, it's the chalk answer to go with, but can you go and get Yordan Alvarez? It's going to cost,
again, left-handed.
Yeah,
I don't care on that one.
I don't. Yeah, like I
see. I know what you mean. Like you'd make something work, but here's my point. You're going to have to go and trade one or two of your left-handed outfielders, that you have here, and I'm including Yoshida in that. Yeah, that's fine. But why would again? Let's say that you have an interest in Yordan Alvarez. Do you honestly think that the Houston Astros, who may be on the cusp of rebuilding at this point, are going to want Jarren Duran? That they're going to want Yoshida?
Oh, they want none of it.
No,
they want rookie.
They're going to want. No, they're going to every conversation that Breslow has with any one of these teams is going to start with Tolley, Early, or Arias. That's it.
Well, would you not go ahead and do Duran? Just to throw it, like, would you do Duran, Bayo, Arias, and Witherspoon for Yordan Alvarez right now?
They're not going to want Bayo, and they're not going to want Duran. They're not going to want Duran.
Well, then they get rid of Bayo or get rid of Duran, and then you add on another,
No, what they're going to come, John, what they're going to come back to you as, they're going to say they want Arias, Early, and Witherspoon. That's what they're going to say.
I'd do it in a heartbeat.
I would too, but the Red Sox won't, because you're talking about the number one premium bat in probably the American League outside of Judge, if you want to call it that. So, but yeah, that's the problem. They're not going to want to give up that kind of talent. I mean, they kind of did it for Crochet, and you can see obviously that Teal's having some major injuries this year, but I just don't see it happening. But they can't take on Alvarez as a DH, and you're still going to have Yoshida sitting here, and you're going to have Anthony potentially coming back in 2026, and you're going to have Duran and Abreu in the outfield. It just doesn't work. I mean, I don't even see how they could even do that without DFAing Yoshida. And I'm not saying I have anything against that. I just don't see them being a team that's going to do that kind of work. And unfortunately, the pieces that you want to trade, none of these teams are going to be interested in that. It's going to start with Tolley. It's going to start with Early, Arias. I mean, maybe they might be able to have an interested team in Meyer just because they will. And I don't think at this point, if he's going to be your shortstop,
you can't trade him right now.
You can't. Well, you can't trade him right now unless you're taking on something back from another team that you get another shortstop.
Zach Neto.
I mean, that's a possibility. Or, the Houston Astros have a major fire sale and you wind up getting their shortstop there. I don't know. It's such a tough question and a tough situation that this team is in because of the roster construction and the way they built it. They really effed up big time in the offseason by not making these things happen. And I think a lot of it is all based on Jarren Duran because they wanted more than his value was. I think he was the piece that they identified that they wanted to trade because it came out at the end of the end of last season that he's going to make a trade and it's going to hurt. And that really signified the possibility of Duran or Abreu. And it just didn't materialize. And now we're stuck with way too many left-handers, way too many DHs, way too many outfielders. And we have an infield that's terrible. And that's what you're left with. So it'll be interesting to see, but I just don't have a lot of faith. And again, who's going to be commanding the ship? Craig Breslow? Is he doing it because he's building a roster and a team for 2027 or because he's trying to save his job? That's the other problem here. So we'll see how it goes. Moving right on to pitching probables. So for this upcoming series, like it matters, the Braves are coming into town Tuesday, May 26th. There's no game tomorrow on Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to everybody, by the way, and to all the fallen. And to everybody that has a military member in their family, as I do, I'm sure others do. Thank you for for everything you've done. Thank you for our freedom. That said, Tuesday, May 26th, 6:45. It's going to be Ranger Suarez against Spencer Strider. Wednesday, May 27th, another 6:45 start. Connolly Early is going to square off against Bryce Elder. And then Thursday, May 28th is TBD at this point for the Red Sox. I don't know if it's going to be an opener or not against old friend Chris Sale. I'm going for a sweep with the Braves. John, you're next.
I hope the Red Sox win one of them, but I'm right on board with you. It's going to be a sweep. The Braves have the offense to sweep you. They have the pitching to sweep you. They have the veteran leadership to sweep you. They have the coaching to sweep you. They have the baseball IQ to sweep you. Listen, like you lose a series, you get swept at Fenway against the Twins, then you're playing the best team in baseball that just beat you at their home field last week. So it's tough for me to have any optimism coming into it. So I'd rather be surprised than be disappointed. So sweep for the Braves.
Nick?
Is this the lowest of the low that the Red Sox have been at this season so far? Is this rock bottom for them right now? Right now, I'm saying.
You mean in terms of the standings?
Right
or
now,
are they just where they are?
No, just overall from how the season has gone. Are we at the lowest point right now in our season that we've ever been? Because in my eyes, we are.
I would say so. I mean,
I'd say the only close second would be after they got
Yankees.
swept by the Yankees. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we're going to hit that next level again after another sweep from a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday game from the Braves. Now, will something else happen after that? If you dial this back a month while this was all going on with Cora and everything, I said something drastic has to happen. And I said at that point before everything came out on that Saturday night, they have to make a change. And at that point, we kind of figured that it was going to be the Alex Cora versus Craig Breslow getting tossed, just from what we thought from expectations. And it ended up being they pretty much made that decision that Thursday night on that Cora and the staff was going to get tossed. It's crazy what we look at this a month down the line and say, you know what? The coaches, again, majority of them were not the problem. It was the players and how this team was together. Yeah. Call me crazy here, but if you see a 3-game sweep from the Braves, something else drastic is going to happen. Would that be Craig Breslow is tossed? Heard it here first.
Well, look, it doesn't get any easier, guys, because after you face Atlanta, you're off to Cleveland for a 3-game series. Then you're going to have Baltimore at home, and then you go to Yankee Stadium again for 3 and Tampa Bay for 3, and then you're home at Texas, and they are in the hunt too. So, you could conceivably see them losing 10 of their next 12, something crazy like that. And it's not crazy. That's the worst part. Thayer just
not crazy.
Yeah, Thayer just hopped in. Thayer, let's get your take. I don't know if you've been listening off air, but what is your prediction for the 3-game series against the Braves?
Oh, I think they're going to get swept. The only way they don't get swept is if Atlanta continues to struggle the way they have been doing. But I think our pitching is going to be fine, but I still don't think we're capable of scoring enough runs. And even though they're talking about playing a little bit more small ball, we've sort of seen them try to do that, and it hasn't been as effective as we would like. And they're still stupid. I don't know if Nick did a word of the day, but stupid would absolutely be my word of the day for this team.
Our last question was regarding the information that the Red Sox are looking to go after a right-handed bat, and we were kind of going over that. What is your thought there on the Red Sox actually, doing so and going after a right-handed, power bat? Do you think they're going to do that for 2026?
We were supposed to do that over the offseason, and we didn't do it. We got Contreras. They told us they were going to do it, but they didn't do it. I don't believe that they're going to do anything of note. I know we've been joking a little bit around here about, it's going to be Danny Jansen and Tommy Pham 2.0 coming in. That'll probably be what they do, if anything at all. I have no understanding of what Breslow and the front office are trying to do at all. It's just smoke and mirrors, and it seems like they flip a coin and, oh, look, it came up heads and we're going to try to do this. Even if they try to do something, it's not going to be successful. So we shouldn't be expecting anything coming in here that's going to have any impact whatsoever.
Well, one of the things I was saying to John and Nick was you're one of 7 teams with the lowest winning percentage in baseball. You don't fit the profile of being a buyer. And also, if you look at the standings, I won't bore you because we went over them already. There's very limited amount of supply of teams that are really not in it. Even as far as looking at the Pirates, who are only 4 games back in their division and in last place. So the point is, even if you find a team that you could match with, they're going to start with Tolley, Early, Arias, Witherspoon. That's what they're going to start with. And you can't do that because you need to move. And we were talking about Alvarez, and I'll get your take on that. Even if he's available, that's all well and good. But you still got a plethora of DHs and outfielders. Your thoughts?
And he's left-handed. It makes no sense. This year has got to be and I want to call it a tank year, a rebuilding year. This is a lost year. The only thing that this year is going to be good for is establishing just how capable our young pitchers are. And that's about the extent of it. There's no reason to go out and try to do something drastic to get somebody to become, you get an Alvarez, you get a Tatis, you do something like that. In order to get those players, you're going to have to give up Tolley. You're going to have to give up Early, like you said. You're going to have to give up stuff from your major league club. And no one's going to want the Durans in this world to get that done. So all they're going to do is set themselves back. And even if they get those players, Alvarez comes in and he kind of pulls a Schwarber and pulls it out of his rear end and gets us into the playoffs. All that means is you are cannon fodder for the first place team to blow your doors off. And there's nothing coming out of that successful at all. This year has got to become a wasted year from a, like the hopes and dreams sort of standpoint, and just potentially maybe figure out you have some left-handed pitching that'll be successful for you. Now maybe Mayer plays a little shortstop. We get him going. Anthony, we take the pressure off him because we're not going anywhere. Get these guys back, Anthony, sometime, maybe this year if we're lucky. But there's no hope in trading for anybody. It's a pipe dream, and if it happens, it's a terrible, terrible thing that means Breslow's sticking around, and he's just trying to save his job.
Yeah. I mean, look, we all would love Yordan Alvarez, but that's kind of a move that puts you over the edge. That's JD Martinez 2017 offseason to 2018. That's the kind of move when you already know that you're there. I mean, after what they did in qualifying for the playoffs in 2025, if you were leading the division right now with this team, with this club the way it is, and now you see Yordan Alvarez being a piece that you could go after, then fine, make that happen, but not with a team that's in last place.
And on top of that, you also have to go ahead and re-sign Yordan Alvarez too.
When's his free agency?
I want to say he's 2028. I could be wrong, but I do not want Yordan Alvarez. If that were even something that actually could happen, I wouldn't want him if that trade doesn't come along with an extension within the first 2 weeks.
So I'm going to moving right along just for time. I want to present to you guys with our segment of Piece of Take. This is kind of like one of those I try to make it more of a controversial type of take. And so this is going to be my take for today. Now, before anybody screams at me, I just want to kind of give the whole premise here. Assuming big time that you have, obviously Ranger Suarez is here for another 4 years, right? And Tolley is the real deal, and Early is the real deal. That's 3 left-handers right there. If you could upgrade your offense in some way, would you trade Garrett Crochet? And I say that because you could get, when he comes back healthy and shows that he's healthy, I think outside of him and Scooble, you could get a king's ransom for him because he's under a cost-controlled contract, and he would instantly be a number one in someone else's team. Thayer, I'll start with you.
No, I would not trade him. Pitching is far too important, and offense could be found. You can find offense somewhere. I would not trade Crochet. I think even with your starting pitching, like we've sort of seen, that rules the roost. Keep him and deal with sort of using the money we actually have to sign free agents and not trade for things.
But my question is, who's going to be a potential free agent this offseason that has the kind of impact that you want?
I don't know. We can find something. And I think there's always a much better chance of finding an impact free agent bat than there is an impact free agent arm. And when you're spending that money on those arms, you're always dealing with the potential of injury. With the bats, there's a much better chance of people being healthy. And if you just look at what we sort of laugh at it, but the Pirates did it. The Pirates went out and added some pieces, Ozuna, O'Hearn, and things along those lines, and they've improved their offense. It doesn't take an awful lot. It just you can sort of finagle your offense.
Garrett Crochet is not Paul Skeens.
No, he's not. But he's also not chopped liver either.
I'm not saying he is, and that's not why I would want to trade him. I would want to trade him because I could maybe get that king's ransom. John, what are your thoughts? Would you trade Garrett Crochet if the right deal came along?
I'm with Thayer. I'm not trading him. You brought up the point of like, we'd have 4 lefties in the rotation. Half the teams in baseball have 5 righties in the rotation, and nobody bats an eye about it. So I could care less about what hand the pitchers are throwing from. I care about if they throw well, and I want pitchers that can throw well. And how many teams make it deep into the postseason with, okay pitching? Not too many. You need as many quality arms as you could get, and for the price that you're paying Garrett Crochet, he doesn't even have to be that number one guy to, fulfill the money that he's being paid. And he's also a guy that wants to be out there throwing 100%, giving it his all day in and day out. He wants to play for a winner. He's, we saw it last year. He's the type of guy that you want on your team. Last year, even at 25 years old, he was a leader from, the pitching side of things. And I wouldn't give that up, especially what you gave up to go ahead and get him. I'm all set on getting rid of him. He's here for that entire contract, if it's up to me.
Did he sign that contract knowing he had prior health issues and wanted to sign it because he knew he wanted to go ahead and make sure he had the safety of that contract?
A little bit.
He's got health issues. We're not getting anything for him anyway. So,
yeah, and a little bit of both on that too.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's a guy that's had UCL reconstruction. He's had the Tommy John surgery. I think twice before he got to Boston. I think he did it once in high school, once at I think it was at Tennessee, or maybe it was Tennessee, and then after the first couple of years with the White Sox. But he's had injuries before. We know that every pitcher at this point has injuries, especially when it comes to the elbow. It's not something that obviously you're going to miss a lot of time if that pops up, but it's so common at this point that you can't be upset about it, especially when the guy's throwing 95 to 100 miles an hour.
Nick, your final thoughts. Would you trade Garrett Crochet if the right deal came along?
Did you make this question because you're concerned about him? That's my question first?
Yes.
I'm going to actually go with John and Thayer on this side. I'm actually at the point where I'm not concerned on Crochet. I really do strongly feel that if this was, or if we were in a situation where we had a winning ball club and Crochet was needed and you had to put him out there right now, I really think he would be pitching. I think this has to do with rest. I think it's because he hit so many innings last season, and I think the Red Sox are milking this in a way to kind of say that 2026 is a lost season. I really do. because we've never seen Crochet throw that many innings in his major league career. We never saw it. Even when he was with the White Sox that final season, he was going, 3-4 innings? He was on a pitch count all the time.
Nick, let me ask you a question. Who does he replace when he comes back in the rotation?
Bayo.
Bayo's not a starter.
Good. Now you have a starter. Bayo's out of here once Crochet's gone. That is plain and simple.
So you think the Boston
rotation?
No, let me just finish with this thought. The Boston Red Sox are paying Brian Bayo $60 million to be a major league pitcher, not a minor league pitcher. Peyton Tolley has options. Connolly Early has options. I'm not saying I want either one of those guys down. Don't get me wrong. But the Boston Red Sox play numbers and so forth. So my question is, would they send Tolley or Early down because of the options?
You can't do it. And if they do it, then you're going to hit a whole nother level of outrage from fans. You can't. Conley Early and Peyton Tolley have been the spark of the season, of a very small spark that have captivated at least fans, and seeing kids that care, seeing guys that are battle tested right now that can prove that they can be major league pitchers. I'm not doing one thing with Conley Early and Peyton Tolley. They're staying right where they are in my eyes. And if they do move, then I strongly suggest us fans move to another team, because that would be completely outrageous if that happens. Bayo needs to either ship his butt to the bullpen, or he's going to Worcester. I mean, we're done. I'm done with the song and dance of Brian Bayo. Who gives a crap how much money it was? The Red Sox were the fools that gave it to him.
Last question for anybody who wants to answer. What if you could trade Garrett Crochet for someone that has the makeup of Bobby Witt Jr.? I'm not saying the contract, but I'm saying the talent.
Jim, you're making my blood pressure boil. You have Craig Breslow as your effing GM. It ain't gonna happen.
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying, I'm asking you, if you were the GM. Again, what I'm trying to say is you've got a plethora of left-handed starters here. You have 3 under contract. This is a team that doesn't want to spend and go over luxury taxes. What is the probability that you could move Crochet? If there is an issue with him health-wise, could he be out again next year when you really need him? I don't know. It's just something to think about. It's just, again, it's a segment that's designed to really
Well, you succeeded.
If Bobby Witt Jr. is available,
I'm doing that too.
I will trade Garrett Crochet for Bobby Witt Jr. Absolutely. But outside of that,
can I also trade for Dave Dombrowski?
That's the answer I wanted, John. That's the answer I wanted. So it just goes to show you everybody's got a price, even John Martinello.
I would agree with that. However, what are we looking at from a Witt's contractual standpoint? And I know you said something about
it's irrelevant right now.
This is important to remember. If we're trading Crochet, we have him locked up for a number of years. Knowing the Red Sox, they trade Crochet, they get Witt, they do not re-sign Witt, and he's gone. So now,
Witt's already under contract though.
For how long?
10 years, $300 million.
Then fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah,
all right.
11 years, 290.
Moving right along. It's time for Dugout Dipshits.
And now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the Dugout Dipshits.
So today's Dugout Dipshit was actually this one here. So Jared Carabas had a tweet. He says, I cannot express how excited I am for Franklin Arias. I'm not an overhyped prospects guy, and this kid got me feeling like he might be special. And so I said, special. So was said with Casas. So was said with Campbell, Mayer, Anthony, and who's the next guy? The idea here is that are we already moving on to the next savior of the Boston Red Sox? Because all the guys that were shoved down our throats for the last 5 seasons have really not amounted to anything at this point, whether bar it be injury or inability or overmatched at the major league level. So my buddy, who is this guy here, Jobu Serrano, says to me, what does that mean? For example, are you suggesting that Roman is a bust after 100 games at age 22 with an 804 career OPS? People who don't understand young player development really shouldn't be talking about sports at all. My question is, if that's true and he's not developed at the major league level, should he have maybe had more time in the minors? I mean, I don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bust. I'm saying that Red Sox fans have seen this movie before. Casas was untouchable. Campbell was the next guy. You know, Breslow said everybody who's involved with, you know, coaching Campbell should take a bow. It's basically what he said at the press conference when they signed him. Mayer was the next guy. Again, your number 4 draft pick, highest draft pick the Red Sox could ever had in the history of their franchise. Roman Anthony, minor league player of the year, number 1 minor league prospect in baseball. And now we're going to start with the Franklin Arias thing. I mean, at some point, a can't miss prospect starts sounding less like analysis and more like marketing. The point isn't that these players have no talent, Jobu. The point is the Red Sox keep selling tomorrow while today's a mess. You know, prospects are great. Development does matter, but fans are allowed to be tired of every new name that gets treated like the next franchise savior before the last ones have even panned out. That's all I was saying. But I know English isn't your strong point. So it is what it is. Moving right along to comments. Let's see what we got. Anything good? Hello, I made it. How you doing? That's I kept want to say Bonnie. Bonnie's your dog. But sorry about that. C.A. Hatchman says LOL. Mason says, hi, I'm new. Welcome to the show.
It's a troll.
Is it? Oh, okay. This is the reason I have no problem having said he traded. The only thing about trading him, like we talked about it before, he's your right-handed bat. So I just don't know if they're gonna wind up doing that or not. Ransom for a dead man is excellent. Will is a company man. There's your buddy, Nick.
Oh, I think Thayer hates him more than me. I really do. Before you joined Thayer, we were talking about Saturday's broadcast. I don't know if you listened to any of it, where Will Fleming was glowing about Byron Buxton going to be the next future Hall of Famer of the Twins. I nearly had an accident because I was that enraged when I was driving, hearing that spewed out of his mouth. He's an embarrassment to broadcasting.
Just listening to him, everything he says is an over-exaggerated hype piece, left and right. Every player is fantastic. Stupid is his new word. Oh, that was a stupid play. Like, are you saying it because? But he doesn't mean it in the way that the Red Sox play, because they do play stupid. He means it was a really nice play. I'm like, you got to be careful, dude. On the radio, you know, especially when I'm listening to it, I expect them to do lots of stupid things. So when you say stupid, it's kind of him explaining a home run with the, you know, going back to the Sterling style. There's a pop up to left field. Oh, and it lands out on the Mass Pike. I'm like, thanks, pal.
Will says, I'm glad someone is talking about Will Fleming. Betty says, and how we'll watch any end of game when Breslow trades Chapman for a bag of stale chips. It's probably what's going to happen. He's gonna screw that up too.
I saw Ethan Salas. Name is roaming around again from the Padres.
The catcher,
yeah. Oh my God, enough. I don't care that's a left-handed catcher and you could have that platoon. He's not good.
Yeah. Mathematically Eliminate says, I love this team. They're doing real well. Betty says Breslow will probably trade him to rehab on another team. I'm not sure what she was responding about, but she did say Bloom is the boob. She also says, no, Tatis has no home runs this year. What's wrong with Fernando Tatis Jr., guys?
Oh, did you see the story that came out about his contract? He owes over $34 million now to his agency, and he was in a lawsuit that was going on. So he's a mess. Stay away.
Yeah.
Stay away, far away. I don't want him.
He's definitely not looking like a guy I would want to trade for this year. Betty says San Diego's in love with Chappie. I don't get it. Like I said earlier, they have one of the best bullpens in the game, and they have the best closer in the game. Just kind of strikes me as a little weird.
Well, they want to win. AJ Preller wants to win, so he is going to do whatever he's going to do, and he's crazy. That is one crazy GM. So I don't put it past him.
Matt, you're right. But he has Nick Castellanos in the lineup 4 days a week. So it's like, what the like? I don't understand why
he's all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna trade. Are we gonna trade Chapman for Castellanos? No,
and it's a long drive to right or left.
And there's a deep drive to left by Castellanos through the apology.
And you know what? The scorer is fired.
Yeah, Nick. You know the other part about that though is not only is Preller a nut, you also got brand new ownership there too, so they might be wanting to spend. San Diego because he's an idiot. Dela Cruz is a New York Yankee fan and wants to go there.
That's right. Yeah, they're right.
I can see that. Yeah, that is right.
Yeah, probably. Logan says Red Sox suck. They suck in Breslow. Fire Breslow, then hire Mattingly's son, who's studying under Dave Dombrowski. I mean, maybe. I don't know. But that's about it for comments. That's going to pretty much wrap it up. Anybody got any last minute things or takes that they want to discuss? Go ahead.
I do. I got a bone to pick. Not with you guys. What is this trend going around Major League Baseball with tarps off? What is this? Because this is what it seems like people are so excited to go to Fenway Park and take their shirt off and do this stupid thing here. You idiots. You have a losing product,
especially
in the
Milliken
Boston Red Sox. I've had enough of it. Like, why? What is that? What's to get a laugh? I don't get it. Call me old school all you want, but I'm sorry. You idiot college people and high schoolers that want to go to Fenway and do this.
Well, the other part of it too is like
when the team wins. You have a losing shit product.
Milliken's on the air, he's on the radio and stuff like that. So to just go ahead and do that, it's just so ridiculous.
Especially Milliken. Keep your shirt on, guy. Got to keep my friggin' dinner down. Holy Jesus. Get
John
a
Thayer,
barf bag for that.
John or Thayer, any last minute takes or comments?
I got nothing. Right now. It's just, same old 2026 Red Sox. Nothing to be excited about.
Hold on. Wait
again, you really can't take this team seriously that they finally took this long to get your shortstop of the future to play shortstop. And I didn't really watch a lot of the game today. I was out and about doing things, but I sort of caught I looked at the box score and the play-by-play of the ninth inning. Down 2 runs, you get 2 men on. What was it, first and third with no outs? And you let Mayer swing away. Why are we struggle to score runs? You're not scoring 3. Bunt the ball, move the man to second and third, and then that base hit would have scored your runs and you wouldn't get guys thrown out at the plate. Again, it's just common sense. You are not playing with good major league players. You are not going to get them to do what you expect them to do. Just do the small things. But yet, like the players, a lot of the managerial and front office stuff is just ridiculously stupid.
Kurt Schilling just tweeted out. He says about Garrett Crochet feeling good to throw batting practice. He says, here's the problem and why this almost never works. The issue causing the inflammation is some underlying weakness or problem. It's not fixed. So interesting take there if you want to go ahead and get that tweet from Kurt. In any event, that's going to wrap it up for tonight. I'd like to thank Nick, John, and Thayer for being on with me. If you haven't subscribed yet on our website at redsoxdigest.com, go ahead and do so now. We have articles every day about the Red Sox game results from the day before, filled with sarcasm, comedy, and some savage comments along the way as we continue to muddle through this ridiculous 2026 season of your Boston Red Sox. Outside of that, have a good Memorial Day, everybody, tomorrow. Unfortunately, I know in most areas it's going to rain, but, make sure that you honor a vet and be thankful for what we have here in this country. That said, I'm going to call it for tonight. Everybody have a great Memorial Day, and we will see you at the end of the week. Take care.